Child's pose. You know to start setting in place your breathing pattern where you have 4 parts to your breath. Inhale, pause, exhale, and pause. So take some time to put your attention on cultivating your breath. I've been thinking about something a lot lately. A student had said to me, he's a coach, and so inside his world of coaching, he understands training and building skills for a performance later on. And he was saying to me, I don't understand always like doing the same thing, how that's good training. And I was thinking about what the right answer would have been for him. And the thing is this, you can bring yourselves up into downward facing dog. We're not training when we do yoga, we're practicing. Practicing can be part of training. And the thing about practicing is we're not doing it necessarily to say, get good at something. We're here just to practice. And so inside of that, as you move through the practice, the poses today, keep that front of mind as an inspiration to what you do here on your mat. Know that it is a practice where you're working with what is and creating what's possible. Take another breath. On your exhale, look forward and step to the front of your mat. When you get there, inhale and lift up halfway and exhale, hang down. Now open your feet at whatever distance feels just right in your body. Make them parallel to one another. And then you can sway from side to side or just hang here. But what we're practicing is principles. One of the principles is your breath. Another principle is your drishti. Drishti is the word we use to refer to where you're putting your attention, and you can start creating that by where you put your gaze, your eyes. Press your feet down into the mat, come all the way up to standing, sweep your arms overhead, look up to the ceiling and reach up to the ceiling, and then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest and set your drishti, your gaze, on one point at the front of your space. Now create an intention today, and I'll invite you into the intention I have for our practice, which is that we practice. 3 times we'll chant Om. Take a deep breath in. Inhale and reach up. Press your feet down, fingers up, fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway, high to low plank as you breathe out, and really emphasize the end of the exhale. Then inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths, breathe in. Long breath out. 2 more. Last one, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees and look, then jump to your hands. Inhale, lift up halfway and fold. Press your feet into the mat, reach your fingertips to the ceiling, then stretch back. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift halfway, low plank on the exhale. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Now distinctly create your own 3 breaths, but also listen for the breath that's in the room. One more time, inhale. On the exhale, bend your knees and look, then jump. Inhale, halfway lift, forward fold. Press down, reach up. Really get acquainted with your feet. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Halfway lift, set your gaze, keep it, low plank. Now upward facing dog, shift your gaze up. Downward facing dog, settle it to the back of your mat and breathe. So you've got your breath and drishti, and we're working on the principle of your foundation. One more breath in, bend your knees, look forward, jump. Halfway lift, forward fold, reach up, extended mountain pose, fold for the floor. Half lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, really press the knuckle of your thumb down, downward facing dog, 3 breaths here. Breath by breath, principle by principle, pose by pose, open your awareness and attention. Last breath, bend your knees and look, then jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Press your feet down, reach up, inhale, fold to the floor, long, steady exhale. Halfway lift, low plank, even here, long, steady exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths, breathe in, breathe out. Work together, breathe in, breathe out. Last one, inhale, bend your knees, look forward, and jump. That's it, Allison. Halfway lift and fold. Press your feet into the mat. Last time, reach up, stretch all the way up to your chin and fingertips. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank, empty and hover. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more. Get ready to move. Inhale, bend your knees, get ready on the exhale. Jump when there's space. Inhale, lift halfway and fold. Chair pose, sit deep and reach. Fold for the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, press your hands. Downward facing dog, step your right foot forward. Lunge, anchor both feet and reach. Hands down, low push-up, steady exhale. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step. Reach up and stretch your breath. Hands down, chaturanga and empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Deep breath in, long breath out. You have 2 more breaths here. Here's the last one. Bend your knees, look forward, and jump. Half lift, forward fold. Squat, really press your knees over your toes and sit deep. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right side, warrior 1. Anchor the back edge of your back foot and lunge. Hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing, left side step. So your right foot, press the back edge of your right foot into the mat and then chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe here. So your foundation is your hands, your feet, and your core. From your hands and feet pressing down into the mat right now, you might start to notice your core. 1 more breath in, bend your knees, look forward, jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, sit, reach, fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot steps. Inhale, lift up, build a tension, hold it, release, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step now. Press your back foot, build your breath. Chaturanga, smooth, slow, steady, long exhale. Up and go back. Anytime you feel kind of short of breath, you can always take a big sigh and start to even out your pace again. 1 more time, inhale, bend your knees, look forward as you exhale, then jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Last round, chair pose, sit deep now, fold, halfway lift, low plank, hands, feet, core, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, press your feet, reach your hands, lift your core, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step, lunge, reach, hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and a sigh. Then raise your right leg, bend your knee and flip the pose. Keep your breath flowing and steady. Set your drishti. Hands, feet, core. You're practicing those three principles right now: breath, drishti, and foundation. One more breath here. Side plank. Put your right hand down, face the left side of the room and stack your body up. Two more breaths. Last one, look up and reach, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left leg into the air, bend your knee and flip, 2 feet on the floor. This pose is particularly interesting, I think, to practice foundation, both feet, one hand, and your core. And how do they integrate from the periphery to the center and then the center back out to the periphery? When you get yourself into the most or the maximum expression of the pose for you, stay right there and breathe and let the pose then do its magic. One more breath. Side plank, left hand down, turn to face your right side. So stack your body up on this side. Challenge yourself. If you have a spot that you usually go to that's your caution spot, maybe you're able to come up a little higher in the pose or lift your top leg. Take yourself to your maximum. Breathe steady and keep your drishti steady and let the pose work its magic. One more breath. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side crescent lunge, step forward. Arms overhead. So set your gaze and let your whole awareness be filled with an inner felt sense of what's going on in your body, from your feet to the pit of your belly, to your chin and to your fingertips. You can reach up and go back. Deeper lunge, deeper back bend. 2 more breaths. Deep lunge, lift up and go back. Hands to prayer position. Twist now to the left. So right elbow or left elbow, right knee. So turn to the right. Once you get your arms steady, then open up the field of listening into your body for what's possible. If what we're doing is practicing these principles, our practice gives us this opportunity to finish the class with our whole body set up. So what will it take from here? If you find you're in some space of this pose where it's crunched and it's crowded, what would take to open it up, to make it have a little more freedom and a little more expression? One more breath. Stay for the exhale. Crescent lunge, reach up. Warrior 2, turn to the left. I always take a little break here too. I don't know, I just need it too. So I'm not going to scold you about that one, because if I'm on the mat next to you, you're going to see me doing it too. But now start from the beginning. Get your feet set. Go longer with your feet and then lunge down. And you might notice this, if you lunge an inch lower, there's like a whole different something that lights up. And then tilt for extended side angle. Reach to the floor and reach to the ceiling. And maybe even here, you can lunge another inch deeper. Maybe you came up out of it a little bit on the tilting. And then just pick whatever expression isn't the one you feel like, but your body's craving. Like wrap your arms in a bind if you're really craving a deeper opening of the lunging inner thigh. Or reach if you're craving strength. And then get into whatever it is and just breathe 2 more breaths just for the breathing. Just one more, just for the breathing. That's it, Chuck. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, then the left foot forward to crescent lunge. At this stage of the game, I used to not like this pose at all. I thought it was hard and a lot of work. And she's like, yeah, keep talking. And then I got that if I could stretch a lot in this pose, when I twisted, oh my gosh, tight parts of my back opened up. It takes a deep lunge. And then don't worry so much how you go back. Worry about pulling your body like it's taffy up out of your legs and pelvis. Do it even with your elbows and wrists for the last breath. then hands into prayer, twist toward the left. So in the studio, toward the street, right elbow, left knee, at home, wherever it takes you, and get set up. Now, I don't know about you, but I have to put this principle into my practice. I always have to check in where I'm checked out, where I've kind of gone like asleep or lazy in the pose. Usually it's my back leg here. Sometimes it's my chest, like leaning down into my knee. Just open up, whatever it is, Nicole, open your top shoulder. Yeah, just like that. Take yourself to the most expression, Joe, strong back leg, whichever way you're doing it. 2 more breaths. Just be in the amazing space of the pose. 1 more breath. Crescent lunge, reach up. Warrior 2. Take the quick breather if that's what your body and your practice is calling for right now, so that you can be in the greatest practice of the pose and the future transitions. So if you're standing there kind of comfortable, like I've got this for however long it takes, try instead going into, whoa, there's magic here. So to me, that means I have to lunge down a little lower. That's why I usually ask for that when I'm the teacher. So I know there's a space about 1 inch lower where both of my legs light up. Get there and then tilt, but stay down low when you do the tilting. Ariana, reach for the floor. You can reach all the way down, all the way up, and breathe. MC, bend your knee. Yes. That deeper lunge, you'll feel how it opens the bending knee, inner thigh. Once you have the bind, then let your bound hands press your hip, but lift your chest. So lunge deep, binders, press your hip with your hands and lift your chest. You got it, chest up, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Consider pose by pose, breath by breath. We're creating new space in the body. Take 1 more breath in. Bend your knees and look on the exhale, then jump, halfway lift, forward fold, chair twist to the right. So sit not only back, like get back, and then get your knees down over your toes. Hands to prayer, turn to the right side. Once you get here with your elbow connected to your knees, then it really helps again to sit down back into your hips and knees over your toes. You can open your arms, take the bind or any variation you'd like. If what you're still feeling is legs in this pose, give yourself the freedom to really squat and feel back, ribs, chest from the breathing. For everyone, open up your collarbones on the last breath, then chair pose, forward fold. Open your feet, hook your big toes and stretch down. Here's a chance to appreciate all the space you made in your back. Yes, it's been on one side of the body in this pose so far, but as you hang here and you breathe, you might start to notice more space between each rib, more length. 1 more breath. And let's set up the next chair twist. So now this time, chair pose, hands to prayer. You're twisting to the left, right elbow to your left knee. Chair twist. When your knees are at a different bend, it has it so that your hips are tilting. We want to keep those level and the knees level so all the rotation is in the spine. Roll your top shoulders open to the ceiling. Just reach up. Find a spot up there that's like you're going to reach up and grab onto the light or the sun or whatever's up there. 1 more breath. Stay for the exhale, then chair pose, reach up, forward fold, gorilla pose. So you'll stand on your palms, fingertips or toes to your wrists. When you really start getting the principles in your body, then you're able to move into deeper and deeper versions and variations without injury. You're always welcome to try a variation. Ask questions about it later. 1 more breath. You can take crow pose or you can take handstand here. So hands on the floor, both ones where your fingertips, the foundation's critical, like your fingertips grabbing onto the mat, lots of weight into the thumb side, pointer finger side of your hand. Lots of crow poses. There we go. 2 more breaths. Stay with it. Stay with it. And if you're in the handstand, go right to the chaturanga, or in the crow, go to the chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a breath, have a sigh, get a clearing, bring some ease. A moaning and a groaning always helps. How's it going at home? There's a lot of sound in the room here. Let's do it all together. Take a breath in. That's a Jean. Stick your tongue out. All right. Look to the front of your mat and jump to the front of your mat. Halfway lift and fold. Take your time. Press your feet into the ground. Just keep looking at them. Drishti on your big toes and just watch them get more distant as you roll up to standing. And then reach up. Right side, eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under your left. Squat down. Right leg over your left leg. Once you get all tangled up and you're in there and you feel like you've got your balance, drishti set, breath steady, start to work with what is. Experience what you're experiencing in your body and work with that. Maybe you're squatting deeper, standing taller in your crown. Another breath. Step out, arms overhead, left arm under, left leg over. So you're just providing some challenge to the principles, making a new shape in the space. And from the new shape that you've created that's changed the room, changed the space here, work your principles, your breath, your drishti, your foundation. There are others, but these are always the 3. What do you get access to? Okay, let's switch sides, step out. Second set, right arm under, right leg over. You can take it lying down, standing up. 2 more breaths. Last one. Step out and switch. Left arm under, left leg over. If you're not experiencing yourself breathing or hearing breath in your area of the room, bring it. And I'll encourage this, really focus on the long exhale. That's usually what goes first. One more. Long exhale. Then step out, hug your right knee into your chest. Maybe hook onto your right foot or big toe and extend your knee. So standing leg raises. Really want the drishti set as we come into the equanimity poses. Yeah, we're balancing physically. We're also balancing a heart that's beating and a body that needs to be able to hold still too. Open your leg to the right, look to the left. I always like to add in switching hands. So now left hand on your right knee or your right foot for dancing Shiva. I like the stretch down the outside of my right leg. So you'll look at your right hand behind you when you make this change. Left hand to right knee, look to the behind. Okay, come forward, hug your knee into your chest. Airplane pose. You can have your arms out, airplane wings. You can have your hands bound behind you. Whatever you're doing, maybe you want to make a few opening circles of your shoulders up to your ears and to your back and down your back. And then again, until you get this place where your shoulders are moving to the ceiling now. The default is that they crowd toward the floor. So to the ceiling, then hands to prayer, half moon. Left fingertips down to the floor or block, right arm to the ceiling. You have an option here for sugarcane pose where you bend your top knee and catch your top ankle with your hand, your right hand. I like the quad stretch that I get there. Choose whichever pose you will be in and stay here. You're right there. There you go. 3 more breaths. What's possible here with 2 more breaths? Nicole, lift your back foot a little higher. Yeah, right there. Stay. 1 more. For everyone, forward fold and hang. Shake your hips out and come up to standing. Hug your left knee into your chest. Standing leg raise. So hold your knee, hold the outer edge of your foot, hold your big toe and extend your knee forward. Steady breath. So it takes something here with the leg forward to just let your 2 sides of the pelvis settle, your hips and shoulders settle back. Open your leg to the left, look and reach to the right. Challenge your ability to be balanced here. Challenge the ability of your core to be a part of the pose. And then dancing Shiva, switch hands on your knee. Look and reach to the back of the room with your left hand. Come forward, hug your knee into your chest. Airplane pose. Whatever it takes to get these shoulders from hanging forward to the floor to the back of your body. You might find it helpful to do the hand bind at your lower back. Interlace your fingers and open your elbows up long. That's it, Megan. 2 more breaths here. If you find you're getting wiggly from your belly out to the periphery, press out. Hands to prayer position, half moon. Right arm down, left arm up. Did you get a cramp? Tight. Steady breathing. Without the breath, you won't have the pose. Then you can take sugar cane, bend your top knee, and with your top hand, catch your top ankle. Once you have caught the ankle, let your whole body open out to the edge of you. So whatever takes any body part out to the periphery, breathe there, all the way out in the edge of the pose. Breathe right there. Stay right out here in the edge. Whole body alive. The principles of the practice being practiced. Forward fold and hang. Sway from side to side. If you'd like a strap for the dancer or standing bow opportunity, grab it and come up to standing. Standing bow, it's the shoulder reaching back. Hold the ankle from the inside. I would say flex your ankle so your hand doesn't slide off of your toes. When you see this pose in its most extreme form, you're actually holding the shin below the ankle and really reach. That's it. So the reaching and the kicking, those have to be at their opposite extreme. Use your breathing, press back and kick. Come on up to standing. That lock's broken. Switch sides. Left shoulder back. Catch your left ankle from the inside. You know, I saw your hand grip on the other side. Let me spin this around. Keep going right there. Feel it? Here, let me give you your balance. Get that. Now feel how your shoulder's pulling back. Yeah, you want that. Got it? Press. When you're losing it, press back, kick that. Yeah, start again. Angie, kick and reach. And take a sigh so you can let go of the holding. Kick now. Nice. Okay, step out. Okay, we'll take a second set in a moment, but first put your 2 feet on the floor, maybe hands on your hips, and take a sigh. All right, second set. Let's set it up and go. Now start with your knees together. It's an easy default to kind of sneak your knee out to the side, and it changes what's getting worked on. So start them together and drive it straight back. That's it. As you kick, can you just keep releasing the shoulder behind you? As it releases, you'll have to stretch more and take up the slack. One more breath. Nice, Charlie. Come on out. You can make that strap even shorter, I think. Just a little bit. Is it really hard to get your arms around? It is. Okay. Just an inch. Second set, second side. That wasn't really hard. You can take it shorter next time. You'll get an amazing shoulder opening. MC, can you kick back so your heel is away from your hip and it's moving away from you? Just reach. Stay there and breathe. Steady. Don't move your eyes. Just breathe. Breathe. Now kick back and let your shoulder go. 3 more breaths for everyone. Stay here. 2 more. Release your shoulder. Let your left shoulder just roll back. Good. Come on up and out of it. Nice. Feet on the floor, hands on the floor, or hands on the floor, hands on your hips, and breathe. Then tree pose. We have so many variations. You're always welcome to take the variation you're working with, but basically sole to the inner thigh, hands to prayer position behind, interlaced overhead, or you can take the number 4 in your legs and squat down, or you can take half lotus in your legs. A lot of choices. Keep your breath flowing. One more breath. Switch sides, right foot down, left foot into tree pose. I always find it interesting to look for what I'm avoiding in the practice. And for this one, it's definitely the prayer hands behind the back. So I've been disciplining myself just to take it. And I do find it is taking a part of my body that's tight, my forearm, and making more space there. Okay, step out. Come to the front of your mat and sweep your arms overhead. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. Chaturanga, drop right down into it. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side, step forward, triangle pose. Now really keep your breath steady here. It's an easy place to drop that principle. So put your attention on your breath. And before your breath being steady, work that principle. While you're breathing, set your gaze on one point. Once you've got your breath working, keep it. Once you've got your drishti on one spot, keep it. And now your foundation, just stay in the pose. Don't move your eyes, but lift your 10 toes in the air and use your felt sense, an inner sense of knowing where your body is in space, and press the four corners of both of your feet down into the mat. Now stay right here with the pose like this and breathe. What's opening up? What's possible in your own body? 2 more breaths. Maybe roll your chest open, roll your shoulders open, and then come up to standing. Turn and face the long left side of your mat for the wide leg forward fold. Come all the way down, and you have so many choices. Lately, I've been taking this one, and I'm going to tell you I hate it. Walk your feet out as wide as they'll go, but keep them parallel to the short sides of your mat, and just keep going for this super wide leg forward fold. Maybe ultimately called a straddle split some days, but this is the tight part of my body, the inner thigh line. And so I'm not going to have some more space there unless I get into a pose that addresses it. Maybe as you're holding here, you might take a sigh and then open your feet another footstep wider if you're going for the really wide-legged pose. Just try your feet a little wider. Yeah, like that. One more breath. Some good sighing happening in the room here. I hope it's happening at home too. Come on up to standing. You might need to walk your feet a little closer together and turn to face the front of your mat for the standing single leg forward fold. So length and some width. Hands may be interlaced or in prayer position, or take Hanumanasana, the split pose. You can take a half split pose. And if you don't remember what that looks like, it's 1 foot forward, a knee back, toes in the air, and you're just working with keeping a square hip. Wherever you are, the foundation and the feet become so interesting in any variation here. Also a good place to lift your 10 toes in the air and really understand the connection of the 4 corners of your feet all the way up to your core. That's it, Charlie. Good. Twisting triangle. Your hips and your legs are set up perfectly. Now let your body open up toward the right side of your mat. That's it. Hips back, chest open. A reverse half moon is a great option here. If you wonder what that looks like, Doreen's doing it here in the front of the room. You can see Harold taking it on. Any variation that you're in, last breath, open your chest on this full last breath. For everyone, unwind, downward facing dog. Once you get to the downward dog, left side triangle. Keep your breath steady the whole way through. Every movement paired to a steady part of the breath. Get your pose set up, the shape of it, the kind of space you take up in the room. Then start your principles. If your breath's not steady yet, get it steady. Set your drishti. Then lift your 10 toes and get so familiar with your feet. If you feel nothing new from lifting your 10 toes, go for more length between your 2 feet. Now our last few breaths, you can start to allow from your feet all the way up to your core, to your chest, to your fingertips, full expression. Let your chest open, your top shoulder open. You're looking up, let your chest open. One more breath. Stay for the whole thing. Come up to standing. Wide leg forward fold facing the right long side of your mat. Feet parallel to the short sides. Lift high and fold down. So in the interest of shoulders opening, then you'd have bound hands at your lower back and spilling overhead. In the interest of inner thighs opening, the wide leg. You can do the side to side, the little kung fu lunges. Just keep a little softness right here. One more breath. Come on up to standing. So now the standing single leg forward fold on the left side. So the left leg is forward. Hands in prayer position behind the back is a pretty nice challenge. And fold. Yeah, see if you can try to press the palms together. This splits the other choice. I recommend the 10 toes in the air. You'll probably notice the front foot, your big toes not really anchored. When you really get your front heel and its connection to your left sitting bone, all of a sudden there's a lot of action in the front leg. When you feel like you've really got your legs, like they're so lit up, you know you have them, keep them, twisting triangle. So sometimes we take all the time to put the principles in and really set something good up, and then we just lose our attention and all the principles go away. So the thing to practice there is that even through disruption, the principles are intact: breath, drishti, foundation. MC and Nicole, pull your side hip back, your left hip, pull it back instead of letting it come over here to the left side. Take your left hip back to the back of the room. One more breath. Let your whole body open. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Come to a high plank and lower to your belly on the mat for locust pose. Hands interlaced at your lower back. My preference is toes turned under and anchored on the floor, and then lift up. Now, as you're breathing here, you can concentrate on imagining your feet, the four corners are pressing into the wall behind you. And from that, the whole side of your body can be long. Keep your breath flowing, body long. You're training your body to take a back bend right now. One more breath. Come on down. Second set, set it up. You could keep the same hand and foot position. Another one that's nice to try is fingertips just behind your ears and then lifting up. You'll concentrate with that on moving your elbows back up into the ceiling. Looks like this, Allison, right there. Different from it hanging or pulling on your neck. Just a light touch and elbows back. Yeah, like that. 2 more breaths. That's it, Angie. 1 more. Come on down. Bend your knees for floor bow. So typical positioning of your hands. Hold the outsides of your ankles. Flex your feet. Kick back. Don't let your knees get wide. This isn't the pose. Keep them close. Backing up. Then set your drishti. And then change the amount of pressure with your legs so it brings you into a rocking motion. Ooh, that's not good with no mat under your hips. Yeah, so you're massaging your abdomen. It's a front and back rocking. It's a little tricky to get the hang of, but you'll see the difference once you get that massaging motion on your belly. Another breath. Come on down. You can wave your feet from side to side. We'll take a different hand grip on the second round. So we had our hands just right on the outside of the ankle. Now you'll roll your shoulders back, palms facing out like you do for the standing bow, and hold your ankles from the inside. If you can't quite make that reach, hold on the outside like you usually do. Kick back. You won't go quite as high. But what feels so amazing here, can you feel that all the way up your forearm, the stretching? Good. Stay with it and just feel the feeling of it. Feel the opening that's happening. Take another breath and come on down. Upward facing dog. Come all the way up. Downward facing dog. Let's take hero pose and reclined hero this time. So knees on the floor, feet wider than your hips. Sit your butt on the floor between your feet. Now, that's not possible for every body all the time. You may have your hips on a block. For some, you might just be like I am, holding on with your hands so there's not too much pressure in your knees and your ankles. For others, you'll sit here really comfortably and feel the stretch in your knees and through your quads. Press into the soles of your feet. So you're pressing your baby toes out and your arch is down. So it depends on your proportions, whether it'll be your fists or your palms. Again, not great without a mat under your feet. Breathe right there. It's a lot of action in some of your ankles and knees, and that's just what your body is craving. You can stay right there, or if you feel like you're seated on the floor, that's the first piece. Your butt is on the ground. Then you could recline. If your butt's not on the ground, you're working right where you need to be. If it's on the ground, you can lean back onto your hands or onto your forearms or all the way onto your upper back and maybe arms overhead. So you have a lot of choices. That's it, Jean. Good, Allison. I see you and Judy both working it. Jane, I bet you're working it in there too. Breathe. I'm so interested right now in my quads and how tight they are and how tight it makes my lower back. One more breath. Okay, let's come on up. Swing your legs around, sit down, roll onto your back for bridge pose. So the quads now, they're important that they're stretched. We need it for this bridge pose, and you're really going to need it for wheel. We could focus on your quads the whole class, or we could focus on your shoulders. There's so many parts of your body that are important to this pose. Press down and come on up. Get your shoulders tucked under your body. I spend my time in this pose really looking for the opening in my chest, my biceps, my forearm. Take another breath in and come on out of the pose as you exhale. Now you can move your knees from side to side and set up again. Really be sure your ankles are right underneath of your knees. Get your breath flowing. Set your drishti on one point. Now your foundation, your hands, your feet, and your core. Bring your right knee into your chest as far as it'll go. And then toes up to the ceiling from there. Try to push a button on the ceiling with your toes, knee into your chest, foot on the floor. The other side. Bring your left knee in as far as it goes and then straighten. Try to touch a button on the ceiling. Press up. Knee into your chest and foot on the floor. You can come down. Knees side to side. All right, next one. Bridge pose is an option. Otherwise, we're doing wheel. Set yourself up. Feet on the floor. Come up into the bridge to get yourself set up and set your hands. Once you get up there, notice if your hands are narrow, if your feet are uncomfortable, and work with what is. Get connected to the foundation. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side, and we'll set up the next one. Hands, feet on the floor, press down and rise up. Once you get up there, tippy toe and stay in the tippy toes, but walk your hands in closer to your feet, at least one hand print if you can. Just get a little bit closer. Hold that into your feet, tuck your chin and come on down. Knees go side to side. Let's set it up again. Through the bridge pose, into the wheel. Tippy toe and walk your hands in really close to your feet, so it shortens the base between hands and feet. Take a breath, maybe a sigh, and then press your heels down into the ground. One more breath, tuck your chin and come down. Did you feel that extra stretch from doing that? Yeah, let's do that again. Hands, feet on the floor, press down and rise up. Steady breathing, you're gonna need your breath. Walk your hands in closer to your feet. Yeah, your breath changes depending on the exertion, but it still has the 4 parts. Get used to this, then press your heels down. You'll feel your quads and lower abdomen stretch. Come on down. All right, we got some good stuff going here. Let's go up again. We got more to do. Hands and feet on the floor, press down, rise up. You are in the practice of creating space by using principles. Tippy toe, hands in, then press the heels. Then bring your right knee into your chest as far as it will go. Toes up to the ceiling. Press that button on the ceiling. Knee into your chest and come on down out of the pose. Knees side to side. Let's do another one. Hands, feet on the floor. Press down, rise up. Let's find some more space. Walk your hands in. Press your heels down. Left knee into your chest. Then toes up to the ceiling. Come on down. Knees go side to side. You can see where the principles get important and key to moving on. Like we can do all kinds of gymnastics and flips, but first we have to get the shoulders open, the abdominal muscles stretched, the quads stretched. We've got one more here. We can do this one. Come on. This is the one we've got all the space for. Press down, rise up. If anything is crowded in this pose, change something. Set your hands wider. Press the ball of your big toe down and breathe. 2 more breaths. Now a sigh. Tuck your chin and come down. Good work. Supta Baddha Konasana. You might want to sigh here. Just the act of training yourself to breathe while your body and your experience can be challenging. So the shape you're taking, whatever the stresses are, that's a superpower your yoga practice is practicing so that you have that. Okay, dead bug pose. Hug your knees into your chest. Hold the outer edges of your feet. So something I was discovering when I was practicing yesterday, the left side of my back, which doesn't usually get sore, was feeling a little sore. So when you're in your dead bug pose, laying down like you usually do, press your left knee down so far it really touches the ground. It extra stretches the left side. And then you can do the right side. Pull your right knee way down until the right knee touches. It may not totally touch, but you'll see there's more stretch on one side. Can you feel that? You don't feel it? Yeah, you don't feel it, Harold? Harold's like, I'm not anywhere near that. Okay, hug your knees, legs straight up in the air. And then we'll take the scissor legs and we'll do the scissor legs this way. You can lower your right leg down to hover. Now, note, you never want to feel any of the abdominal work in your lower back. And you also don't want your whole torso rocking side to side. We want this box from hip to hip and rib to rib to stay stationary. And then we're just challenging that. So here's what we're going to do. Your right fingertips will reach to your left toes on this side of the scissor. And then you'll open up and switch and touch your toe. And keep going back and forth. Here's the thing. You use your breath, a percussive exhale, like a where you're really using your belly and pushing the air out will deepen your abdominals and push you a little higher to touching your toe. So instead of using momentum, work the power of your breath. Go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest. So good, isn't it? Rock head to tail 3 times and come up to a sitting position. Once you get up to sitting, you can lean back on your hands with your fingers pointed to your feet, or you can even come to your forearms with your hands kind of holding around your hips. And then your legs up in the air. So kind of like a boat pose. And then here's what we're doing. We're doing circles. They can be little or they can be big. Just circles you can control. So start with a little circle and just check yourself out clockwise. And then maybe they get bigger. Don't worry about getting too big because they're going to be too hard to control. Yeah. Find the challenge point on the circle for you. For me, it's like coming up on the outside of the circle. Use your percussive exhale there. And then go counterclockwise. Start with little circles. Let them get bigger. That's it. You should still feel both sides of your pelvis evenly anchored. Now, there'll probably be a little movement, but minimize it. Little bit bigger. Okay, I'm looking at your faces. They don't really look happy. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock back onto the floor. All the way back. And then come on up and through to downward facing dog. I could be deadly if they gave me 2 hours. Okay, right side pigeon. Get yourself set up in your half pigeon pose. Use a block under your right hip to keep your 2 hips level because I'd love to add some extra challenge onto this today, but you're going to have to be able to be pretty steady. So if you'd like to take the extra challenge, with a strap or your hand, so there'll be the block under your right hip to keep you steady. And you know you have the variation of how square this is. So if squaring it makes you sit to the side, we're not working with that. We want to be on top of the pose. Once you're on top of the pose, grab your back ankle with a strap or your hand and fold forward. You'll feel like a ton of stretching in your quad muscles. Yeah, there you go. If it feels kind of easy-ish, get off of your right butt cheek and square yeah, get over toward Angie a little more, Charlotte. Yes, right there. And even Angie, you can go over to the street a little more with your hips. So more yeah, up in there. Feel it? It's a little more intense in the back leg. Nice. So Joe. Just take a breath in and a sigh. That's another pose I really don't do unless I guilt myself or somebody asks me to do it. Switch sides, and it's what I need. So maybe that's the principle I should really be focused on and practicing. If you can, you must. Different from being like a yes man and always just doing everything. If you can, you must is if the principles are in place and the possibility is there, take the possibility. Because if I'm avoiding it, then my quads just get tighter and tighter, and then my lower back starts to hurt. But this is what I know to do. I know this makes it all work and feel good in my body, be better. And so I've got to do what I know to do. And as you're holding the pose, your body's going to change. It's going to wrap itself around the impact. It's going to adapt. So if you can, take a sigh and then see what more space there is and occupy that new space. This is a practice of breaking down perceived borders, opening up a landscape, a vista, space to breathe, to live, to be comfortable in your own skin. A place where you have freedom. Okay, sit on your left cheek, swing your right leg around for the seated leg extensions. So it's a bent left leg and a straight right leg, and fold over your straight leg. There are so many variations on this pose as well. We typically teach it where you're just folding opposite hand to baby toe. And there are variations where you could take the side bend. I don't usually take that one, but it's a good one. And you could also bend this knee so that your knee is in the air and your foot is on the floor. Looks like this. And get your heel in really close. That can be a little uncomfortable. And so I'll reach for my toes a little bit and breathe. And that's a pretty deep stretch. And then after I feel that subside and feel pretty good, I'll wrap my arm around the bent knee. Wrapping around the bent knee, reach behind my hand back and hold hands and bind the pose. Looks like this. Show them in the back. Here. This begins a part of a whole series of poses we hardly really get to because it's a lot of an intense flexibility. A lot of the times the hamstrings get in the way. It's a whole Kurmasan series of poses, tortoise poses that can get into some seriously deep lower back opening. All right, switch sides. So you have the the kind of usual, or a little maybe newer to you. These variations, a lot of choices. You're always welcome to try any variation. Only you get to decide that. No teacher, nobody else. You just try things and then you see, can I breathe in this thing? That's the first principle. Can I breathe? Okay, can I keep my focus, my drishti? Second principle, like, you know, if you don't belong in a pose, it's not right for your body right now, you're not going to be able to keep your gaze steady. One more breath. Two legs in front of you, seated forward fold. Let's take it this way today. So the usual here, sitting, toes straight up in the air. You want the foundation, like your feet are standing on a wall. Then sit up tall, reach around behind you. Now this sitting up tall can be hard for a lot of people. You may need to soften your knees or elevate your seat, like fold up your mat and sit on it. Then with your hands bound, keep your body tall and just hinge. See what there is to see here. Probably isn't a lot. Just see what there is to see. Now I can notice my very lowest abdomen starting to touch my thighs. So I know I have to stretch my neck. Sitting bones to heels is a huge stretch for the hamstring, and you just work with that. You have to challenge yourself sometime. Feel the shape in a new way to find new space. Come on up. Reverse tabletop. Onto your hands behind you. Fingers point toward your feet and lift up. That is such an amazing, don't you feel that in your forearms and in your shoulders? Take a few good breaths, maybe some sighs. Invite ease into those parts of your body. Then sit down, roll onto your flat back, and roll your feet overhead for plow pose or waterfall. We won't be here for very long. Just a plow or a waterfall. Maybe while you're upside down, add the sigh in here. You're going to be walking through your whole life, just sighing, settling yourself down, because you just have that tool now from your practice. Okay, roll out of this onto your flat back and hug your knees into your chest. Then take a simple twist, drop your knees to the right and look to the left. When you get here, really simple, like no forcing your body, just get into the shape and take a sigh, let your body get long. Come to the center and hug your knees. And then the other side, knees to the left and look to the right. And let your body get long and take your sigh here. Come to the center. Supta Baddha Konasana. Into Shavasana. Once you get to Shavasana, to deep rest, take a breath in and a sigh out. Even though you shift here from your Ujjayi yoga breath toward an everyday breath, it's still been informed by your Ujjayi breath. So you're still practicing the principle of breathing. And even though your eyes are closed, you have achieved a level of clarity of focus and steadiness. And so you're still practicing the principle of drishti. And foundation, your hands, your feet, your core. You've made a connection there from your brain and your intentionality to being anchored and grounded and settled and secure. And now that you've practiced those principles, you have them lying still here. You'll have them when you leave your practice today, go out to your car, down to your kitchen. But most of all of those principles and others you may not even have been aware of, you get access to aliveness. And so we're not training. We're practicing what it is to be alive and fully in the experience of experiencing no matter what's happening. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Hug your knees to your chest, roll to your side, and bring yourselves up to a sitting position. Once you get seated tall, bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. And in the experience that you're in right now from here, set an intention for the rest of your day. And then one more time, we'll chant Om together. Ready? Take a deep breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Take a breath in and exhale. Namaste. Thank you